Hello, everyone. This is Sarah DeSilvi. I'm the Director of Clinical Informatics for the Gravity Project, and I wanted to take a moment to review the process of submission adjudication for the benefit of any possible subject matter expert or any new subject matter expert so they can know and understand what's required. Submission adjudication is a core responsibility of being a subject matter expert for the Gravity Project because we utilize our subject matter experts to determine what submissions and what data elements are appropriate for inclusion in our domain master lists. Just to remind folks, so the process that Gravity utilizes is we are a public collective. So we utilize analysis of research and analysis of clinical methodology and public suggestions in order to collectively collate a master data set that represents the things that need to be said about a given social risk domain. The first submission that we adjudicate in any social risk domain is one that we call the SME master submission. This SME master submission is made from reviewing the literature. It's made from utilizing core national screening methodologies such as the Accountable Health Communities tool or Prepare or the AAFP Everyone tool. And we basically include all of these elements from our search onto an initial spreadsheet that needs to be analyzed for whether these elements are fit to be included in the master list. You can see here, this is the SME master submission for financial strain. You can also see the domain of financial strain or financial strain when it applies to specific material hardships. You can see elements such as screening tools and question concepts. Critical things to see here is that the SME master submission is always divided up into the domains of activities that we divide our data elements up into in the Gravity Project. So the first tab is always a tab of program definitions, of which there are none yet because this is a new file. Screening questions and answers, which you can see here. These are from our literature review. Our next tab is goals, of which there are none yet. Our next tab is diagnoses, and these are any diagnoses found, again, from our literature review or from initial submissions from the community or from previous suggestions. And then there's a last couple tabs regarding interventions. So there's interventions regarding programs, education, and referral. And then there's some interventions which focus on reimbursable activities with CPT and HCPCS. So again, the core concepts and activities of the Gravity Project are divided up into screening questions and answers, goals, diagnoses, interventions, and within interventions within programs and professions, but also interventions insofar as reimbursable activities. I'm just going to take us back to the screening questions and answers again. So again, you can see here the domain is financial strain and childcare. You can see we've named the relevant screening tools. And next, we're going to get into the elements that require adjudication. So across the spreadsheet, the first in column F, you can see there's a description of the question. So in the last 12 months since you've lived here, has it ever been extremely difficult for you and your household to pay for childcare? As you go along, you can see there's answer concepts. So these are the answers for those questions. Just to orient yourself, you can see the question is repeated every single time it needs to be in order to match with an answer. So every single line has the same question repeated over and over again. You then correlate, you then go across the table all the way to the adjudication elements in order to start adjudicating. These adjudication comments are from our terminology expert, Linda Hyde. She basically collates and helps collate this master submission for review, and she is the primary gatekeeper and steward of the master data set. This is just for continuity's sake because she's able to log any changes and assure we're responsible to creating a master list that's intelligible and where individuals can see what's changed. And then here's where we start adjudicating. So I always go first from the point of view of a clinical informaticist and from a point of view of continuity. But then every single subject matter expert has their own column. So for financial strain, you can see Dr. Adam Schickedance has one column and Dr. Jeffrey Colvin has another. What I do first is I try to gather any materials that I feel like are missing. So if we need an example of a tool in order to better understand, I ask the team to gather it for us. And I make any comments where things clearly are not in line with the domain, just to get them going. So then every single time you adjudicate, we have made drop downs to make it easier for you. So you can see if you clicked on Adam's drop down here, every single data element is basically an add because when we feel like it needs to be present. A duplicate, I wouldn't worry about this too much in the beginning submission because this is just saying that this is the exact duplicate of something on the list. Synonymous means it's almost exactly the same. It's the same in theory, basically, but not exactly the same. Park means this is suitable for another domain, not this domain, another domain, and we're going to hold it in place. And then do not add is it just stops. There's no reason to add it. It's completely out of scope and not applicable to any future domain. And then info needed is when we feel like we require information in order to better understand the submitter's intent. Again, I try to gather all the info needed before it comes to our subject matter experts in order to save time. So you can see here, the subject matter expert would then just go down and add their adjudication. You can see I've done this for all of the different questions and answers across the submission. I've added the tool when appropriate for the subject matter experts to review. You can see here, this is a link to a tool that was submitted by a submitter. And then you can see here also that I've asked for clarification. For instance, a short version of a tool was included in the data set, but we need to include the long tool as well. This process probably takes, all told, depending on the number of submissions, about an hour a week. And then we also meet together to try to resolve any differences in adjudications we might have. So this is just a basic review of the process of adjudicating submissions, and I hope it was helpful.